to look 5 years from now, and we're going to look at what has happened in flag football, and it's going to be amazing.
She was the ultimate in do-overs.
I mean, she's a really good person. I started to feel a little bit bad about myself.
Me too. I wanted to get up and leave.
She's like, I have to go on phone calls now because I'm selling, franchises for this.
You know how inferior it made me feel. When she said that, I thought, well, maybe I'll buy a fucking team.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll buy one of her
let's buy
teams.
one.
Maybe that'll give me something else to talk
Oh, that means
about.
I've got to put the facelift on hold.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Do Over Divas. We're very excited. This week we have a guest host filling in for Jill. We have the brilliant and amazing Megan Weaver, who is a friend of the show, and we're really excited to have her back.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me back. You know I always love sitting on this sofa with you, so I'm really excited to be here.
Today we have Marjorie Herrera. She is a former Dallas Cowboys beat reporter, best-selling author, and now the commissioner of the Global Flag Football League.
Yeah, she is leading one of the fastest growing sports on the planet.
Yeah.
Welcome, Marjorie. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've reinvented yourself now more than once were you one of the first beat reporters for an NFL football team?
Actually, I was the first female beat writer covering the Dallas Cowboys, the very first.
Wow.
And
America's
this
team.
was
I love
in
it.
the 1986 season. Yeah, it was really interesting. I have a lot of wonderful stories I could share with you, but we probably don't have enough time. So I just want everybody to know there were a lot of wonderful experiences. And then, of course, when you're the first, it's also going to be a little challenging. So there were some people that weren't happy that I was on the beat, including
I'm sure.
some colleagues.
Really? Some colleagues?
Yeah, so I went through a little bumpy time there.
Craziest thing to happen to you? Because I actually, years after you broke through that, I spent the summer with the New York Giants in their locker room shooting a show for them.
You did?
I did. And it got a little
Oh,
crazy.
way to go. That's great.
I had more than one player flash me, like just as I'm doing,
I want to apply for this job.
Yeah.
Where do I get an application? I'm in.
She knows nothing about the NFL, however.
Oh, I couldn't tell you one rule about football, but I want to get in there.
Yeah. Just for the flashing.
So how craziest thing to happen to you? Because for me, that was daily. For you.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, no, I think it has a lot to do with the leadership of the team. So I never had any embarrassing moments, and none of the guys were trying to intimidate me in any way.
Wow.
Now, I found out only about a year ago from two guys that were on the team in separate occasions. Randy White told me the same thing as Timmy Newsome. One had been a linebacker and the other one a fullback. Mm-hmm. So offense, defense, they told me the same thing. They told me that when I became the beat writer for the team, that Tom Landry spent 15 minutes, and apparently he never spent 15 minutes talking about anything other than football, but he spent 15 minutes telling the guys there is now a woman beat writer. She'll be in the locker room. She'll be following the team. And then everybody had to be respectful.
And behave.
And they were.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had that talk with them until recently, but they were always respectful. Now, here's the thing that's interesting is you probably experienced an open locker room where all the lockers are along the walls.
Yeah, that's what I'm visualizing too.
Yes, and that's all the locker rooms I've tended to see over the years. But the Cowboys at that time had two walkways crisscrossing and then a quadrant, 4 locker room areas. So each shaped like a horseshoe. So when I came onto the beat, they added curtains and then signs that said, do not leave your locker area without clothing. And so...
And that didn't piss anybody off? I mean, that
nobody.
I would think the team would be like...
Would complain, like,
yeah, that's messing up our team spirit or something, right?
Dudes being
No,
dudes.
not at all. I never heard a single complaint from anybody, and my relationship with the guys was so professional and solid and respectful that even today I could, show you my phone. I've got their numbers. I can call them if I need somebody for a charitable
Are any of them
event or a
single?
speaking engagement. Pardon me?
I said, are any of them single?
Megan's still interested.
Yeah.
So like,
Yes.
Just
I
I'll
do know
hit you up
some that are
later,
single.
Marjorie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 86, yeah, that's
They were
about right.
great
Now
guys.
they own like car dealerships.
They,
Great.
yeah.
and it's interesting. I'll give you one example. I was talking to one of the football players whose locker was in the bottom of the horseshoe, not on the sides. So my back was to the rest of that quadrant locker area. I'm talking to this football player. When we were done talking, a rookie tapped me on the shoulder and I turned around and he said, I want to tell you I'm sorry. And I said, sorry for what? And he said, I changed while you were in this area. But I did it because I knew you were busy talking and you had your back to me. But one of the veterans had told him that is totally disrespectful and you go apologize to her.
Oh
So
my God.
they
were hazing him.
that
Come
was
on.
how it was.
Wow.
It was really a great experience.
Those
That's
sweet little
amazing.
Texan boys.
Yeah.
Maybe he was from Texas, but still like having to confess his sins.
Yeah.
God,
is-
love him.
Well, yeah, the one that tapped him on the shoulder was actually from Texas.
Yeah.
Went to school in Louisiana. Yes. Mhm.
Wow.
That's funny.
And here's our flag football. I don't know. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
This is
So
Yeah,
flag
so-
football, gateway for like women to, get into these sports, huge new sport that's going to the Olympic. How did you become the commissioner?
well, I just knew some people that were involved with this new league, and they reached out to me and said, "What would would you be interested in our a leadership role with us?" And they did some calls to some NFL guys that have known me over the years and said, what kind of person is she? That kind of thing. And then they said, "You're our next commissioner," and I'm like,
Oh
"Okay."
my God. Now let me ask you a couple questions
Not
about
next
that.
commissioner; it's the first commissioner. They
Yes,
did that.
yes.
This is new.
How many teams are there in the global flag football league?
So we have 3 teams in Texas, 3 teams in Florida, and 3 teams in the Carolinas.
Oh, cool.
And they're all women's teams.
Oh, they are?
The league
Okay.
wanted to start out with men and women.
Yeah.
But my idea was, let's focus on women. And if we want to add men later, we could do that. But right now, it's the right time for women's sports, women's leagues.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
so that's what
fantastic. Now, did you have any experience with flag football prior to this, or was it mostly tackle football and you had to like sort of learn the new rules?
we're doing. Well, I actually played flag football in high school and in college.
Yeah, I did too.
And love flag
Love
football.
it.
And in my day, you could tell that I'm not in my 20s or 30s or 40s. And, we can keep going.
I don't know. I can't tell because I don't have my glasses on.
Right.
So
Oh, okay. Well, let's hope that all the viewers either don't wear glasses or have cataracts.
yeah, yeah.
But when I was playing, it was 11 on 11. It really
Oh.
was more. And now flag is more like 7 on 7, 5 on 5. The
Yeah.
Olympics will be 5 on 5. Our league is 5 on 5. Now, a lot of college and high school leagues are 7 on 7, but we're modeling ours after the Olympics because we want to be right in the middle of that, where a lot of our players move on and play and represent the country in the Olympics.
And is that
So-
your? I'm sorry, I feel like I'm hogging all these
No, no,
questions,
no.
but I'm so curious. The women that play on your teams, were they involved in flag football always, or were they just athletic? And this is somewhat new to them. I mean, I can't be totally new, but
Yes, we're still establishing our rosters, and one of the beauties of flag football is that if you are a sprinter, you're
Yeah.
a soccer player, you play basketball, you have
It can
already
transition,
some
yeah.
skills that translate well to
Yep.
flag football. And I can see even WNBA players that might on off season want to also play flag football, because it translates very well.
Mm-hmm.
You could have been a cheerleader. There are a lot of things, gymnast. So it's not like a lot of sports where you grow up and you pick your sport and you just
Yeah.
kind of focus on that.
so there's still a chance for us.
Those skills.
I think that
Yeah.
the players are probably in their 20s. That's my.
Damn it.
Am I right? Your players are all about in their 20s.
But if we have a light,
Yeah, 18 and up.
18 and
that's
up,
what
yeah.
Okay.
our target is.
if we have a light,
it'll look like we're playing really
that's
well.
right. That's right.
It's just an opportunity for women who love sports that their skills translate, and our coaches all will know that. And so you don't have to have played, we're only getting college and high school flag football for girls just
Yeah,
up
now.
and running
Yeah.
across the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to get a lot of players that played in high school and college. A lot of them have played on flag clubs and in USA flag tournaments and things like that, but not necessarily the trajectory we see like in tackle football.
Well, both of my sons played flag football from like 5 to I think 13 is when they age out at the rec league where they played. And then my older son went to Notre Dame High School and played
Wait, are you in
tackle there.
Phoenix?
No, we're in Los Angeles. Yeah, there's a Notre Dame
okay,
High School here in
okay.
Sherman Oaks.
And they have a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched a lot of flag football over the years.
Now, are you working with the Olympics in terms of flag football?
Really, all that we would provide for them is if we have players that would move on to the Olympic teams.
It does
That's cool.
feel like the Olympics are sort of a springboard for flag football to become more of a major player.
Absolutely. When the Olympics, when they announced that they were going to offer now flag football as an Olympic sport, I think a lot of people jumped on board with the opportunity to now start playing flag football because it's been typically, picnics, intramurals, things like this, play down the street because it's easy, get a football
Well, it's fun.
and
Don't
an
they
area
always-
patch of grass and
Don't they always also have some sort of a professional flag football? NFL flag, I think, would do a game right before the Super Bowl on TV each year.
Well, they
Am I
started
remembering
a
that
couple
correctly?
years ago with their Pro Bowl. They changed their Pro Bowl from being a regular, tackle football game to a flag football game. Yes.
Yeah, and I love that you're focusing on women.
Yes.
In the flag football. That's so great because they've never had an opportunity, and the women, the girls that
Exactly.
love football, like what other options did they have?
I mean, I love football, and it's amazing that you were a beat reporter. You've gone from being a Dallas Cowboy beat reporter, which is sort of like the dream job, to now being a gateway for women in terms of sports, because flag football could really be huge.
Oh, I see it as huge. It's, we're going to look 5 years from now and we're going to look at what has happened in flag football and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And what we're doing with our league will play in the spring of 26. And then we have our championship and it's called the Summit Bowl. And it will be played in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've got everything. We've got the stadium. We've got everything in the works. And to me, I want to one day see that as the women's equivalent of the Super Bowl. I want the Summit Bowl to just be, you mention it and everybody knows that's the women's equivalent.
Well,
I
geez,
love it.
listening to you talk, I mean, I have no doubt it's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
be the women's equivalent,
I
Yeah.
think so too.
right? I mean, she's the
Well, thank
enthusiasm. It's like it's infectious.
Well, I loved playing. I loved it. I mean, if I could play at this age, I'd still play.
Yeah,
I've taken
well-
up bowling though. It's a little healthier for my bones
Yeah.
now at this age.
You should take
but,
up pickleball.
Yes, yes.
Megan
Yeah,
is a
and
huge.
pickleball.
Seriously.
I really enjoy pickleball.
She's converted in the process of converting me. So yeah.
It's my at
good,
my age. It's my
good. I hope it
newfound
works.
obsession.
Yep.
So
Maybe she'll start
For
a league.
sure.
Oh, there is a league.
I'm sure that.
Yeah.
There is. Well, I don't know. I mean, I wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Does that count?
Talk to Marjorie.
like probably around the same time that she was the beat reporter.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
So yeah, that
That
doesn't really translate.
That's a lot of work too. That's
It is a whole lot of
what
work.
those
I was like
cheerleaders put
10.
in.
I just wanted to, bare my midriff.
Hussy. You 10-year-old hussy.
Totally. Yeah, I got over that real quick.
Did the soap opera of the Dallas Cowboys, which is like legendary, like the Jimmy and the Jerry of it all, and all the things that have happened, did that sort of inspire you to start writing?
Well, no, actually, I was always, I grew up wanting to write a book. I mean, I grew up wanting to be a journalist. I wanted to be a professor. I wanted to be an author. I wanted to be a football coach.
Oh my God.
I wanted to own a sports team. I've done all of those things.
Wow.
The one I didn't anticipate was becoming commissioner of a professional league.
Yeah.
So the author piece, though, I was in 2011, I was at my allergist, and he had, after 26 years, he had convinced me to take allergy testing to get shots because I was miserable. And been going to the same allergist for 26 years, saw the same nurses for 26 years. I always dressed the way you guys are dressed. I never had words, all this stuff. And so that one day in the summer of 2011, I was wearing a T-shirt of my daughter's alma mater, and it said the University of Tulsa football. Well, my nurse, even though I'd known her 26 years, she asked me, "Oh, you like football?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, my great aunt was a football coach." And I was like, "What?"
Oh,
and
my
she
God.
said, "Yeah, she was a football coach." And I said, "When?" And she said, "During World War II." And now I'm getting goosebumps and, and I'm like hyperventilating. And then I said, "Where?" And she said, "In Brownwood, Texas." Well, if you're from Texas and you follow high school football, Brownwood is like one of the most iconic high school football towns in the state.
Wow.
7 state championships, there's an incredible legacy there. I nearly fainted. And by the time I left the appointment, I asked her, "Can I write your aunt's biography?" And she said, "Yes." Now I set out to do the research and too much had been lost to time. So my book, When the Men Were Gone, is based on a true story of Tylene Wilson.
But you had to elaborate a little bit. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I always wanted to write a book. My experience covering the Cowboys helped me understand Tylene. So there is sort of the connection to your question. And then when I coached football for one season at Texas Wesleyan University. So I don't think those experiences would have really, without those experiences, I might not have really fully understood Tylene's journey. And so those experiences really played off. I always wanted to write a book, but not just any book. And when this landed on my lap, I knew it was the one.
Are you a fan of the show Friday Night Lights?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
it's Texas and
The
football.
movie, the
It's
book,
kind of right
everything
up your
about it.
alley.
Yeah.
Speaking of like TV
Yeah.
and entertainment, I read that your book was going to be turned into a movie. Is that happening? Did that happen?
Yes, it's in the process. It's in development now with Mandalay Pictures.
Wonderful. That's really exciting because that was when I read about this and read about you and your book and I read the synopsis, the little producer in me was like, I'm going to ask her if the rights are available. And then I read that you had already been approached and that you were on your way. That's really exciting. It really lends itself to
Great story.
a big screen. So that'll be
thank
really
you.
fun.
Thank
So when
you.
it goes into turnaround,
Yeah,
just
that
come back
happens.
to Megan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
She's
know
your
you were a
backup.
producer. I'll let you know when my next book comes out.
There you go.
Yeah. When you were no longer reporting for football and then you took some time and you wrote your book, how did you then segue back into sports and decide that you wanted to go? I mean, I'm sure you didn't go straight to commissioner of the Global Flag Football League, but there were some steps in there, right, that made you feel like you needed to go back
Yes.
into sports. Tell us about that.
At one point in 2016, I saw that a local NAIA college here, a small liberal arts college, was restarting their football program. And I volunteered as a football coach. I got assigned to work with linebackers and defensive backs. And so now I feel like I'm really in the middle of it. I see sports as an observer, as a fan. I've seen it as a reporter. I've seen it as an athlete. And now I've seen it as a coach.
And you were a
then
defensive coordinator?
A few years. No, I reported to the defensive coordinator.
I
I
see.
worked with defensive backs and linebackers.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then
That's a tough
at
gig.
one point I
Yeah.
bought a baseball team, a minor league baseball team. And so I saw sports from the position of an owner. So I've seen it from all angles: a commissioner, an owner, a coach, a player, a reporter, and it's really
That's crazy.
it's really enhanced my understanding.
Yeah.
We all need
aspects.
to step it up on this
Yeah.
on this sofa, in this room.
Yeah, that's basically the message I'm getting right
Yeah.
about
Step
now.
it
Yeah.
up, Libby.
Yep.
Man.
I know.
Yeah.
So amazing. Did you then decide to write a book?
Well, I didn't write the book until years later.
Okay.
So I was a beat reporter for the Cowboys. I did that for a number of years with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Then I went over to the Dallas Morning News. And I covered the first game that Jimmy Johnson won, the
Wow.
1989 game that they
Yeah.
won in Washington, the only game they won that year. And continued writing for the Dallas Morning News. But at the same time, I went to graduate school and became a college professor. And
Oh.
so I wrote for the Morning News twice a week. and then I taught classes.
Did you teach
One of
journalism?
the local colleges. I did. I taught journalism. I eventually became the head of the journalism department. I was the advisor to all student media. And, when I started, they had a newspaper that ran every 2 weeks. And when I left, we had a weekly newspaper. We had a website. We had a television studio. We had a radio station.
Wow.
So
the problem
that's
is,
kind of-
Marjorie, you're just not ambitious enough.
Right. You're a real slacker.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I don't know what I would call it. When I was a little kid, people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I told them all the time, I said, I don't know, because I like a lot of things a little and not one thing a lot. And then I grew up and discovered I liked a lot of things a lot, not a little, but a lot. And then I set out to do them all because you get one go round, and I liked them all.
That's
and
awesome.
So I'm not sure I would call it ambition. You guys are too nice to me. But it was
No,
just
I would call it ambition. I would. I woke up this morning and I was like, I just like a few things a little.
Yeah.
So I would love to be able to catch a little bit of that.
Well, I wish I didn't like so many things a lot, because sometimes I don't want to do anything.
Well, it keeps you going.
What's the best advice you've ever got about being a woman, like in a room full of men? Because it seems like most of your jobs have been that.
Yes. So I was raised by incredible parents. And my dad was an athlete, and he played baseball in college. My mom was an athlete, but she didn't have opportunities.
Right.
So she was a really good athlete, but she couldn't do the things my dad was able to do. And I'm the second of 5 kids, 4 girls before a boy. And I fell in love
Oh my
with
God.
sports.
I
So my
assumed
parents-
probably you would be like 6 brothers.
Yeah.
Right? Sorry.
No,
Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, and my
Continue.
brother is so much younger than I am that we really didn't. He was still in
Wow.
grade school when I went off to college. So this became a father-daughter, daughter-mother thing. And I learned football from my mom, listening to Notre Dame games at the A&W, little drive-up restaurant where you get your burgers. And
I love
my
that.
dad
Wow.
taught me. Yes, and my dad taught me everything about baseball and basketball and everything. But the advice that I got, to answer your question, my mother, I told her, Mom, I want to be a sports writer one day. Well, there were no women bylines anywhere.
Yeah.
And there was no such thing as Nike. And so all she told me was one thing. She said, just do it. That's what my mom's
God.
advice was.
Oh, that's
That was
Phil
it.
Knight would be very
Right?
happy to hear your story.
He
I'm
really
sure.
would. Yeah.
Yes, that was it. And this is my mother. My sister was in 8th grade when she told my mom she wanted to be an attorney. Well, while my sister was at school, Mom looked up in the yellow pages. Remember those? She looked up in the yellow pages and found there was one female attorney in town. So when she picked my sister up from school that day, she drove over to that law firm, pointed at the shingle, and said, "She did it, so will you."
Oh.
That was how
That's
encouraging.
amazing.
Wow.
And my sister went on to be a federal judge.
Wow.
I mean, your parents were
No
amazing.
kidding. Like, I need some coaching from those parents.
Amazing parents. Oh my gosh. If everybody had, I'm sure you did too, but if everybody had my parents, this world would be like heaven on earth.
Were they strict with you?
No, they did not. They put everything on us.
All right. So my kids have a chance.
I did not have, none of us had a curfew, but we knew Mom and Dad stayed up till we were home.
Right.
And so we were never home past midnight because we didn't want them up and worrying.
Right.
So they put, nobody ever rebelled or anything because we were making our own decisions.
Yeah.
And they supported those decisions.
So did your kids come home before midnight because they knew you'd be waiting up? Because
did.
our kids do not come home before
Yeah,
midnight.
No. My kids roll in at like 4 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah, 2:33. I'm like, where have you been?
Oh,
Why are you
yeah.
so
That's
invasive?
unless they're not at home having a party
Yeah.
while you're out.
Right.
Yes. I was told yesterday
No,
that
my
I'm
kids
too
always came
invasive.
home.
Yeah.
I'm too invasive because I asked him, like, what do you need? I'm sorry. Can I make you something to eat, Mom? Just you're so invasive.
Invasive. Okay.
Okay.
Was there ever a challenge you didn't take, Marjorie? I mean, it feels like you have, just stepped into everything that you wanted to have happen. Anything that stopped you?
I have one, and it just gets me. It really gets me that I have regretted it my whole life. In fact, I was a keynote speaker at the Arizona State University Law School, and I mentioned it because it just hits me in the gut. I don't want it to happen to anybody else. But I went to Arizona State University as an undergrad, and I'm only 5'2". And when I was a freshman in college, I probably arrived at 98 pounds. But I could play basketball. I could dish the ball. I could shoot from anywhere. I could shoot from half court. I played on my high school team.
Wow.
I loved basketball. And my friends in the neighborhood, the girls, they didn't want to play. So I would ask their dads. If my dad wasn't home, I'd go knock, and I'm,
not creepy
Mr.
at
Luna,
all.
do you want to play basketball with me? And he'd go get his sneakers on and come over and play. So that was my thing. ASU offered me a spot on the women's basketball team, and I went to my first practice, and I stood in the practice gym door frame, and I watched them for a little while, and then I left.
Oh, Marjorie.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
I don't know what was going through that 18-year-old mind, but I do remember thinking, those girls are really tall. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to end up with black eyes all the way through college, and that's not really a look I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Now
I can relate to that, talking about my son being 5'2" when he started, and he was like, I watched him run up to the huddle, and I was like, oh God, I don't think anybody else was under 5'7".
Yeah.
It can affect you. I mean, you're literally looking up, and like, I understand how that can really feel defeating.
Yes. But I should have done it.
Yeah.
I should have at least tried.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't up to it, I would find out.
Oh God,
I used to
I'm so
sing
sorry.
professionally. And I learned a lesson from that because I used to sing.
Uh-huh.
I was a country singer.
Wow.
And
Of course you
Hold
were.
on, Marjorie.
Of course you were.
well, no, I'm just telling. But I had the chance to go with a label, and I did it. I went with an independent label.
Oh my God.
And then Sony Records contacted me about maybe doing a showcase for them. And I never really wanted to be a country singer as a profession. I just wanted to know if I could do it. And I didn't do that with basketball. I didn't know if I could do it. I showed up, but I didn't compete. And so with Sony, I was ready. I felt good. I'm like, okay, I think I can do it, whether it's with a big label or an independent. I'm already with an independent. But then I had to have disc fusion surgery on my neck, and they had to move my voice box.
Oh,
wow.
And then it got a little scratchy, as you could probably hear a little scratchiness.
I can't
and
actually.
It came across in my singing, and so I just never really have sung anymore.
Well, it's
but
too
I
bad
feel
you
like I
didn't have
could have
anything to
done
fall
it.
back on.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, though, is that I now don't say I don't think I can't do it without finding out. And that's really important. I learned, and you know what, maybe that 18-year-old self that didn't walk into the gym wouldn't be the person I am today if I had made a different decision, because I learned a lot looking back, not to close any doors.
Yeah.
You know, my saying is walk through the door. That's the thing.
Wow.
And and so
That really takes
might have
really takes
happened.
a lack of fear.
Yeah.
That a lot of people don't possess.
But it
Yeah,
changes
well-
everything. I mean, Marjorie, it's almost ridiculous how many things you have done. It almost feels like you're making things up as you go. And
know,
then
I'm like,
when
I
I was
think
an
she's lying.
astronaut,
I think her mouth is a lie hole.
well, I feel like I don't leave them until I feel like I've completed, the task. And a lot
Right.
of people, they just grow with it. I mean, if I had stayed at the newspaper, I might have become a columnist, and then I might have, all this stuff. And that's great. But I get to where I want to be, and then it's like, let's start fresh again. The do-over divas. Now it's like, let's do something else now and start. I love starting from the bottom and creating something, and then start from the bottom again and create something.
Wow.
That's
And it
just
doesn't seem like
fun
anything
for me.
holds you back. You just go, okay, time for this. Are you a restless person, or do you just love so many things that you feel like you want to experience as much as possible?
I think that's what it is. I like to experience as much as possible. You know, I'm singing in the booth when I'm recording my CD, and I'm thinking, this is what the Beatles did. You know, I mean, it's just like you just want to experience stuff that other people have experienced, and it's just fun. To me, all of this is fun. I don't think of it as pressure. I just think of it as fun.
What a
Great
great
attitude.
attitude.
Bowling
Yeah,
now,
what a perfect way to
now
go through
bowling
life.
is pressure.
What did you say was
Bowling.
pressure? Bowling.
I'm trying
Oh,
to get
bowling.
200s and all that. Bowling is pressure. You know, being a commissioner is fun.
Oh my
love that.
God.
All right, well, Marjorie, I want to volunteer right now to do any work for for your new league. I'm all in.
Honestly,
anything
she
you
will.
head up. Yes.
She will. She's not full of shit.
No,
And she's
I'm
a
being
doer.
completely
She's a doer.
honest. I believe that you
Well, thank
are
you.
a gateway to
And
whatever
I want
is next.
to volunteer to watch the games.
And I'll wash the locker rooms.
Yes.
Well, we need
We've
that
got it
too.
covered.
We need that too. Yes, I will be following up.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Marjorie. This has been a pleasure.
I can't. I mean, we could talk for
Yeah.
another hour with
yeah.
all these stories you have. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for asking me.
I can't wait to see what happens with the Flag Football League.
Oh, I just have such great hopes, and we're getting so much interest and sponsors and investors and people that want to own teams and everything. I mean, right after this call, I've got another couple of calls, about different people that want to get involved. And so it's been great.
Well,
and I just
congratulations.
really
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. If it somehow doesn't make it to the way we envision it, it's not going to be for lack of any effort, because we're putting a lot of work into this.
Well, I'm looking forward
you
to the
are.
Summit Bowl.
Yes.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, you guys ought to come out.
Thanks, Marjorie. It was such a pleasure chatting with you today. You are so fascinating, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you later. New episodes of Do Over Divas dropping every week, wherever you get your podcasts.